In this video, we will solve questions from our standard extended formative assessment test. Let's start on question 1. So here we are asked to solve, and what we're going to do firstly is we're going to do an inverse operation to deal with the number 3. So we're going to minus that from both sides, which will leave minus x equals minus 2 minus 3, which is minus 5. And then secondly, we need to divide by minus 1 on both sides. And so that will leave us with x is equal to 5. Okay, so we've solved that one. That one's worth 2 marks. And so there was 1 mark for showing the working out and 1 mark for the answer. 1b. Okay, again, we're solving. What we need to deal with first is the brackets. So let's expand our brackets. So we have, on the left, we have 3x minus 1. And on the right, we have 2 times 1 and 2 times positive x. And so that leaves 2 plus 2 times x is 2x. And then secondly, we collect like terms. So we want to do an inverse operation to remove the 2x from the right-hand side of the equal sign. And so we will take 2x from both sides. And so that will be on the left, will be 3x minus 2x. That leaves us with x, or 1x. And minus 1 equals 2. And then next we want to deal with our minus 1. So we do the inverse operation of adding 1 to both sides of the equal sign. And so that will give us 2 plus 1, which is 3. And so now we have solved that. We've got 2 marks, 1 for the answer, 1 for the working out. C. Okay, with C, we need to expand our brackets, firstly. And so let's do that. We would do 3 times x and 3 times negative 1. And to expand the second bracket, it would be negative 2 times x and negative 2 times positive 4. So let's do that now. 3 times x is 3x, and then 3 times minus 1 is minus 3, and then we want to minus 2 times x, so that's minus 2x, and careful with this next one, it's minus 2 times 4, so it's minus 8, and so all of that equals 10. Next we need to collect like terms. I'll do it in 2 steps here. We're just going to collect 2 like terms there, 3x and 2x. So that will become 3x minus 2x will be x minus 3 minus 8 equals 10. And then secondly, we want to do an inverse operation of these 2. So we're going to add them to both sides. And so that will become x equals 10 plus 3 plus 8, which x will be 21. And so it is a 2 question mark. I've probably shown too many steps, but I just wanted to show how we do our inverse operations and then collect like terms. So I just wanted to show that in separate steps. Let's move on to question 1D. Okay, don't be scared by the fractions. What we want to do in all of these questions is start to deal with our constants first. So we're going to do an inverse operation here. And so we need to minus that from both sides. So we have 2x equals 2/3, and then we are minusing 1/3. Now it makes it quite simple because in our denominators on our right, they're the same. So that'll be quite simple that we can now have 2x equals 2/3 minus 1/3. That will give us 1/3. Okay. Now we're not quite there. We need to now divide both sides by 2. And there's 2 ways to think about dividing both sides by 2. One way is to think that we will times by a half. That's probably the best way to think about dividing by 2. Or another way to think about dividing by 2 is we're just dividing by 2 and we're dividing by 2. And so that's the second way. Personally, I prefer the first way. We're just timesing by a half. That's timesing by half is dividing by 2. Okay, and so that will give us, on the left, we will have x, and on the right, be a little bit careful with that, it's 1/3 times 1/2, and so 1/3 times a half, if we look at multiplying our fractions, on the numerator, it'll be 1 times 1, and on the denominator, it would be 3 times 2, and so that gives us 1/6. Okay, and so just a tip, leave your answers in as a fraction, not as a decimal. Okay, and so then we have, for 2 marks, we've got our working out and our final answer. And so now we've dealt with question 1. Okay, in our next video, we'll look at question 2. Okay, thanks.